Have you ever had a question piss you off so much that you then decided to make a TikTok about it? No? Oh, okay, well, I hope you can still relate to this video then. The person we're about to talk about today is called Beth the Baker. Now, if you were to take a wild shot in the dark at what kind of profession this woman has, what would you say?
Today is pretzel rolling day, and I really need some recommendations for podcasts to listen to while I do this.
She bakes, of course. She's called Beth the Baker. You'd be really weird if you guessed anything else. She's called Beth the Baker. Now, Beth has been in the spotlight recently. A lot of people have been mad at her in her comments because of a TikTok that she made. Now, I do want to say, do not harass her. With peace and love, do not harass Beth the Baker. People haven't been leaving her alone in the comments, and you know, she just made a rant video. It's fine to make jokes about stuff, but just okay, let's watch the video. So what we're gonna watch now is Beth the Baker's most viewed video. I've had people stitch this thing, and I've seen people talk about this on YouTube Shorts. So that's how you know that this really went into the mainstream. Let's give this a watch.
Every single time I tell someone I'm a baker, they go, "Oh, what's your favorite thing to make?" My husband is the GM of a restaurant. He never gets asked that question. My favorite thing to make in relation to my job is my paycheck. This is not my hobby. It's my fucking job.
It's a really funny TikTok. Let's keep watching what she has to say.
I don't need to have a favorite part. Like, I mildly enjoy most of it. That's it.
So obviously, we can already tell a few really funny things about this. Her name is Beth the Baker, and she's frustrated when people want to define her by her profession. She chose to call herself Beth the Baker. It's in her name, you know, it's there, it's right there. Yes, it is a pretty basic question, but also, I don't know, people maybe assume that you're passionate about your job. Baking is a job with quite a whimsical sort of vibe to it, in your head at least, in my head. And so people assume that this is a job that you're really passionate about. It's fair that you're not, you know? It's fair to just want to make money off of something that you're skilled at. But yeah, that's the reason for the question. I also want to talk about one of her points here.
My husband is the GM of a restaurant. He never gets asked that question.
So she says that her husband is a GM of a restaurant. He never gets asked that question. I think GM is general manager, I'm assuming. So I looked up GM of restaurant, what they do. They do hiring and training staff, manage employees, they engage with guests, they're in charge of government and corporate compliance, and they anticipate the needs of restaurant patrons. We kind of need to admit something here. Being in charge of government and corporate compliance is a lot less whimsical than baking. I think people ask that question for jobs where they assume that you probably enjoy it. When I worked at a grocery store, no one asked me what's my favorite item to put in a bag, because they assumed correctly that I was miserable. I'm a little silly guy though, so I like to ask the what's your favorite question for those kind of professions usually. If I met her husband, I'd ask him, what's really your favorite aspect about managing labor costs? You know, I'm aware that labor costs is one of the highest expenses for a restaurant, typically taking up to 25 to 35% of revenue. So what's your favorite part about doing that? It's fun, you know, you get some interesting answers. Last time I met a baker, I asked them, is it really that hard to make a croissant? Or is this just like a thing people say? Is it really that hard? I don't know about that. So yeah, unsurprisingly enough, the comments are, yeah, they're making fun. They're doing the making fun thing. Beth the Baker, when people ask her about baking, ugh, that's an angry emoji. Hi, I'm Beth the Baker, but don't ask me about baking. You tell I'm Beth the Baker. I think I get the joke. That's because the GM does not cook or bake. Hope this helps. Okay, people are being a bit, you know, let's relax here. This is the comment that I agree with the most. You're allowed to hate your job, but the other person isn't to blame for not knowing that. I also think that the joke that you said in video,
in relation to my job, is my paycheck.
I think you could say that joke to people, you know? You can complain about not liking baking. That's absolutely fine. You don't have to say baguette. Trying to think of something people bake. There's part of me that does relate to Beth the Baker in a way. I also have a job that's a bit different, as you may be able to tell. Not a lot of people do their job while they're holding a phone flashlight onto their face in the corner of a room of mirrors. I'm actually about to have like a real recording space soon, so I'm excited to stop recording videos in this corner. But yeah, when I was backpacking like a year and a half ago, you sit in a lot of these social situations with other people who, you know, are traveling and stuff like that. And I had to answer the same questions about YouTube about like 50 times a day. Just so you know, here are the questions that you get asked the most as a YouTuber. A, what kind of videos you make? That's fine. All of them are fine in a way, really. Then I usually get, is this your job? Like, do you actually make money off of this? Really? Is this like what you actually do? I'm like, yeah, pretty sure that is what I do. Then they ask, how does it work? Do you get money from subscribers? Which no, that's not the answer. And sometimes they'll straight up ask me how much money I make, which is quite rude. Don't ask someone who don't know something like that. That's just to have a bit of tact, you know? And the thing about the other questions is that they are fine. These people don't know that I've answered that very question a billion times that day, and they're curious. They're making conversation. I am a bit exhausted because I had to explain how ads work a lot, but that's of no fault of their own. You don't really meet a lot of YouTubers on your day-to-day life, and so it's kind of interesting to ask questions about that. I would have probably done the exact same if I didn't know that information myself. So I can choose to get mad at these people, I can choose to record a rant about it, or I can do what I actually do in real life, and that is lie. I lie all the time. I love lying about my profession. That way I get to give different answers every time because I'm lying. What I'm doing is not the truth. These are people that I meet for a day and then move on. So I really don't mind lying to them. I can see your comments right now. Evil Pinely's a liar. Well, you subscribe to a channel that's called Evil Pinely. You knew what you walked into. Last time I lied, I said that I edit commercials in America, and the guy I spoke to asked me if I know The Rock. Like straight up, that was the follow-up question, if I know The Rock, because I said that I edit commercials in America. I don't think I would have gotten that question, you know, on my normal path. I would have probably had to explain how ads work again. So, you know, that's kind of my advice to you, Beth the Baker. Say that you're Beth the shark fighter. Say that you fight sharks for a living. You'll be surprised how this new move changes your life dramatically. So then she made another TikTok, not much of a follow-up, but another rant, and people were mad at her in the comments.
Yesterday I was talking to someone for work and they brought up kids, and I'm married, and so they asked me if I wanted to have children. It is 2023, almost 2024, and I feel like we should not be asking women that question anymore. I, for one, never want children. What really gets me is when I tell someone that and they say, you'll change your mind.
So, okay, here are some of the stuff. Don't ask Beth any questions ever. No question is safe around Beth. Beth, what questions can people ask you? I think the kids question really depends on how close you are with the person you're talking to. If someone is married and they don't want to have kids, that's their fucking choice, you know? That's it. End of story, really. So I don't know. I think her frustration with that one is kind of valid. I think that's kind of okay. It is just kind of funny how, like, when something like that happens, right? A person makes a dumb rant about a thing. That's really what's happening here. She ranted about something, but it's really so inconsequential. Her not liking that people are asking what she likes to bake is so... it doesn't matter. She hasn't hurt anyone, really. This is a thought that's in her head in that situation. It's a mean thought, but it's not, she isn't like punching the person every time they say that. And then like expressing that on TikTok just makes people villainize you as if you're actually like a morally broken person. They're like in every single one of her comments now. This is a video about like podcasting.
Please help me. Anything but Joe Rogan.
You honestly have the vibes of a person who listens to Joe Rogan. And yeah, everyone is just mad at her. Everyone's still mad at her about the baking question. She recently came back. She like shut down her TikTok account for a while. And the first thing people are at is just like, The fucking baking question again. Love the biscuits and bitchin' vids. You're handling this with more grace than I could ever. Thank you for saying that. I did take a multiple month breakthrough because I was having a really hard time. People are just so relentless, you know? So while part of my message here is that it is kind of, yeah, her original rant is kind of funny and silly, right? It is a silly thing to be like really mad about. My real point here today is please stop equating something like cringe or weird or dumb to like an actually morally problematic thing that a person has done. An act that they deserve to be punished for. This person is saying, didn't you do this to yourself though? Did f***ing what? Complained about something dumb? If that's a punishable act, burn me at the stakes. There are people right now who follow her specifically to just keep spamming that comment. If you get the chance, you know, to like maybe go over and like say something nice, I'm sure it'll brighten up her day. Like and subscribe for more baking Q&As.